Hello classes, good morning or afternoon and welcome to your next maths lesson. Still continuing with fractions and decimals. In this lesson we are going to be comparing fractions and decimals. By that I mean we're going to be trying to find which one is greater or less than the other. So as always, you know what's coming. Firstly things first, please pause the video for 3 to 5 minutes and complete your arithmetic. Okay, welcome back. Moving swiftly onwards. First thing that I want you to do today is have a look at some of these inequalities and put the correct symbol in the inequality. So here are my symbols. Of course, I have less than, equal to, and greater than. And obviously, the easy sort of more babyish way that we can remember them is we think of it as a crocodile's mouth, and a crocodile's mouth eats the bigger fraction. Okay, so it's a nice, easy way for us to remember it. Please take a little bit of time here to pause the video and try and work out which of the fractions is greater. Okay, well, welcome back. I didn't want to give you too much instruction there just because I wanted to give you just to think how you would go about doing this. So really, really well done. If you worked out, okay, let's do this first one. So, okay, I've got two fractions here and I can't immediately compare them because they have different denominators. It's hard for me to compare a half and 5/8. Now, you could go about drawing representations, pizzas or bars or something like that. But it's not always the most efficient and it's not always the best method. So what we want to do is try and put both fractions over the same denominator. Now, in order to do that, let's say I'm going to start with half, this one. I want to make that as a fraction over 8. And then it'll be really easy for me to compare if it's more or less than 5/8. So in order to get to 8, I need to multiply it by 4. I'm finding equivalent fractions. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator, which will give me 4/8, like that. So now I have 4/8 and I have 5/8. Which of those is greater, or are they equal to each other? Well done if you are able to identify, of course, that 5/8 is greater. So that would be the correct inequality sign. Let's try that for the next one. Okay, I want to put this fraction over 32. So I can easily compare them. Well, what have I got to do to get from 8 to 32? I've got to multiply by 4. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. So what inequality sign is going to go in there? Well, of course, it's the equal to sign, because 12 over 32 is equal to 12 over 32. They are the same, aren't they? They're both the same fraction. Moving on, I could do this this way again. So I want this fraction now to be expressed as a number of hundredths. What do I have to do from 5 to get to 100? Well, I need to multiply. I need to multiply, but it's not letting me write on the board there, but I need to multiply it by 20. So I need to do the same here. And 4 multiplied by 20, of course, is equal to 80. So which inequality sign will go in here? Well done. If you identify that 81 hundredths is bigger than 80 hundredths. Of course it is. There are one more hundredth in there. Last but not least, we have this last question. So I'm taking the one with the smaller denominator, and I want to put it over 100. I want to convert it to a number of hundredths. So I need to multiply that by 5. Whatever I do to the denominator, I need to do to the numerator. And 8 multiplied by 5 is 40. Is 40 hundredths greater, less than, or equal to 45 hundredths? Oh, well done if you worked out it was less than. 40 hundredths is less than 45 hundredths. Okay, as always, take time to make sure you are confident with the vocabulary. We are not moving on to anything that new in terms of our vocabulary this lesson. So it's a really good time for you to make sure that you're really confident and secure with all of these star words. Okay, here are some different representations of a whole, one whole. And we know it's one whole because it starts at 0 and it ends at 1. So we have a number line at the top. In the middle, we have a number stick. And at the bottom, we have a bead string, which we were working with last lesson. So let's firstly have a look at the number line at the top. So it starts at 0 and it ends at 1. So how many of these size jumps do I have? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my 1 has been split into 10 equal parts. So each of these jumps is equal to a tenth. My 1 has been split into 10 equal parts. How do I represent 1/10 as a decimal? You need to think back to your lesson, your first lesson in this sequence this week, to remember that I represent that as 0.1. Therefore, if I told you that this was 4/10, what would this be as a decimal? Well done if you identified as 0.4. Okay, let's fill in some of the gaps then, Sally. 0.1, 0 point something, 0 point something, 0.4. What is going to go here and here, do you think? Well done if you identified that each time we are going up 0.1, we are going up a tenth. So 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, and so on. And another way of representing that would be to say 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and onwards, and onwards, and onwards to 1. Okay, this time, as you can see, we've zoomed in on this part here of the number line. So instead of my number line being equal to 1, my whole number line now is equal to 0.1. So this is 0 and this is 1/10. So how many of these equal parts do I split it into? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've split into 10 equal parts. So what is each of these parts going to be equal to? Well, very well done. If you identified that it would be a hundredth. So I have a tenth and I split that into 10 equal parts. So it is now each of these jumps is equal to 1/100th. And how do I represent that as a decimal? How do I represent 1/100th as a decimal? You have to think back to your lesson earlier this week, and hopefully you can remember that I represent it as 0.01. Nothing in the ones column, nothing in the tens column, and 1 in the hundredth column. I've got 100th. Okay, so just like we did last time, if I know that that's 200ths, what is that going to be as a decimal? Well done if you worked out that it's 0.02. I wonder if you can tell me what would go here and what would go here. Pause the video now and have a chat or work out what would go there. Okay, well, welcome back. And hopefully you are able to identify that this is 100th, 200th, 300th, 400th, 500th, 600th would be here, which would be equal to 0.06. And well done if you worked out that along here I've got 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, 0.06, 0.07, and 0.08. 0.08, which is obviously equal to 8 hundredths. Okay, in this lesson, you are going to need to put these fractions and decimal representations in ascending order. Okay, that is from smallest up to largest. Okay, now this is all you need to do for this lesson is order these 6 things so they start at the smallest and end at the greatest. Now that might seem like a really short and easy task. There's actually quite a great deal of maths that is going to go into it. As they stand, you cannot compare and order these 6 figures. The reason for that is they all have different denominators. Some are decimals, some are fractions, some are hundredths. You can see 20ths, eighths, and we've got some decimal numbers in there as well. What you need to do is convert them all to something. You could convert them all to decimals. You could convert them all to 20ths. Can you convert them all to eighths? Can you convert them all to hundredths? Can you convert them all to thousandths? It's really, really tricky, especially this one here is going to be the one that gives you a little bit of a problem. Okay, now this is going to be one of those tasks where you are required to use some trial and error. That's why I've just given you the one question. So what you need to do is on piece of paper or whiteboard and pen or anything that you have at home, you need to try and make them all so they're the same thing. Can you convert them all to decimals or to hundredths or to thousandths or something? What is it that you're going to convert them to? And then once you've done that, you need to put them in order, starting from the smallest and going up to the largest. You'll do that on this page of your Google Slides. Just reorganize them, drag and drop them so they start from smallest all the way to greatest. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, this seems like a really straightforward task, but there is a great deal of maths involved and it will require you trialing and erroring. The first thing that you do might not be right and you might have to go back to the beginning and start again. Good luck with this task. And of course, as always, let us know if you have any questions.